This is the Fulfilled Life podcast and video series brought to you by Compass Chiropractic in Clive, Iowa. In this series, we share recommendations and reviews of the products, services, and activities that have enhanced and enriched our lives. I'm Dr. David Crozy, your host, and this episode will be part 2 in a 3-part review and recommendation of the Standard Process Purification program. In this episode, I'll be explaining why I did the program, what I got out of it, and who I would recommend it for. So, just to tell you a little bit about myself, I come from an athletic background. I was a swimmer, but throughout college and then chiropractic school, I started putting on weight. I love all kinds of bad food for me. I like fast food. I love ice cream. I love chocolate. All those things are just relatively irresistible for me. Coming from the athletic background, I kind of had a philosophy that, eventually I'd get around to working out enough to lose the weight. But at the end of 2009, I found myself 5'7", 175 pounds, and definitely was not happy with how I looked and how I felt. I was out dropping off gifts to different medical doctors and chiropractors who had referred patients to me for active release techniques. And I stopped by this other chiropractor's office, and in the summer of 2009, he'd been overweight. As I walked into his office, the guy looked fit, he looked cut, and it was enough of a change that it was one of those ones where you just had to say, what did you do? And so he explained that he'd done this purification program. He said that he lost somewhere over 20 pounds in 21 days and then went on to lose 60 pounds total. And I'll probably never forget the words that he said at the end of his explanation of the program. He said, I feel better than I have in ages. I'm running 15 miles per week, and now when I make a recommendation to patients, it's what I'm doing in my own life. And so that was exactly what I was looking for. Came back to the office, and I talked to my front desk person at that time, and she explained that she had talked to the pastor at her church, and the pastor and the pastor's wife had both done this program and had great results as well. And so over the next week or so, Callie and I did research online, came back after Christmas, and we both decided that we were going to do this purification program. So we got those ordered. We both started the purification program on January 2nd, 2010. And what I'll go over next is what I got out of the program. The first thing, this program absolutely worked like a crash diet for me. In 21 days, I lost 15 pounds. So like I said, I started at about 175 pounds, down 15 pounds by the end of it. And we've now had about 30 different patients all do this program. And in general, we've seen losses that are very close to 8 to 9% of your body weight. So at the low end, people have lost about 12 pounds. At the high end, most of our patients that have done it have lost up to around 18 pounds, but most people have fallen in that range right there in 21 days. They are excited. The weight seems to come off the right areas. It doesn't seem to just be water weight. I mean, there's a noticeable change. We haven't had a lot of people measure their waistline, but there is a noticeable change there. The second important thing that I got out of this program was that it was a transition to a healthy long-term lifestyle. So in my situation, I've been telling people for a long time that they should be transitioning to the Mediterranean diet, that one has the most research coming out, that it's the best for your heart, the best for your long-term health, but I was not living it myself. I'd recommend the website, Mediterasian.com. That's Mediterasian. And that's a great resource, but I'd look at it myself and I wouldn't implement anything. With this plan, it was the jump start and the transition to something closer to the Mediterranean diet for me. And so I'm very grateful for that. The third thing that I got out of the program was an appreciation of natural foods. What I found is that our society, we can have anything that we want. I mean, like I think about myself, like I can't remember the last time that I went to Dairy Queen and just got a simple cone, just a vanilla ice cream cone. If I go to Dairy Queen, I'm going to get the Blizzard because I can, and it's going to be a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Blizzard. We are in a society where we can have anything that we want, and we're just used to having the deluxe, the rich, the indulgent. And what this whole purification program does is it kind of changes your appreciation. One of the things that amazed me is that, like, when I first did it, it was clementine season, and I was more excited about clementines than I've been about any Blizzard. I actually ended up doing it a second time during the summer. I wanted to lose some more weight so that I could run faster in that second situation. And I remember being more excited about Pink Lady apples than I've been about, again, any piece of ice cream or any cup of ice cream, any piece of chocolate. And the thing that really blew me away, I'd been struggling to find something during the day that would keep me full. I'd just try to eat the salads, I'd try to have smoothies, and I was still getting hungry. And with my job as a chiropractor, there's times where it's not convenient for me to take a break and have a snack. And so one of my friends that had done the program had made the lentil soup that's recommended on the Standard Process website, said that it was really good. And I remember when I brought in this lentil soup in one day, I was so excited to try it, to have something that tasted good, it smelled good, and to have something that would keep me full during the day. And so, it was just bizarre to be excited about these foods that before, wouldn't even have registered. It just wasn't good enough. And all of a sudden, it just changed how I felt about those things. The fourth thing, and one of the most important things that I had to realize, and that I didn't necessarily learn through the purification program, but I learned at the same time, is that exercise alone wasn't enough for me to change my weight significantly. There were some statistics given to me. I go to this beginners running group during the summers, and it polls about 60 people, and a lot of them haven't run very much. And at one of the first running groups, the guy that was in charge, he said, if you're here and you're thinking that you're going to do this beginners running group because you're going to lose weight, he said, I just want to give you a heads up. Running alone is probably not going to be the thing that's going to help you lose a lot of weight. He said, here are the numbers. He said, for every mile that you run, you burn about 100 calories. In order to lose a pound of weight in your body, you need to have a 3,500 calorie deficit. He said, so if you keep eating exactly the way that you are, the way that's been maintaining your weight, and you just start doing this running, he's like, you're going to have to run 35 miles for every pound of body weight that you want to lose. And I had never had it spelled out to me so clearly, but that's what I was thinking I was doing. I was thinking that I could just eat the same or tiny bit healthier and exercise a little bit more, get my 3 days of exercise in a week, and then wonder why I wasn't losing any significant weight. And when it was spelled out like that, it was like, okay, now I understand why what I was doing wasn't working. Another thing that I got out of the program was a certain awareness that I just plain didn't need certain foods or certain substances. In the program, you go 10 days without having any meat. That was an eye-opener for me because at the beginning of it, I thought that day 11, I'd be having chicken for breakfast. But when day 11 came around, I think that first time, I didn't even have chicken on the first day that I was allowed to. I was doing well. I wasn't super hungry. And I don't think I got around to having chicken until day 12. The other thing that I learned was that I didn't need caffeine to the extent that I thought I did. Prior to doing this program for the first time, I was having a coffee each day and a soda each day, generally a diet soda, which I know those aren't healthy either. But I thought that going out without caffeine was going to be a major struggle. Found that it wasn't the struggle that I thought it was. One final thing that I learned through the program was that it appears that I do have some food sensitivities. I've been dealing with allergies for quite a while here. I thought that I was allergic to mold and dust. If I wasn't taking my allergy medicine, I would have terribly itchy throat, profuse sneezing, and was really having a lot of problems. I found a solution that would work by taking some Zyrtec daily, and then ultimately I ended up getting a nasal steroid. Wasn't really happy with the solution, but wasn't really sure what else to do. I've had friends who have celiac disease, which is a gluten intolerance, but I've been aware for a while that food sensitivities can cause all kinds of problems. And definitely I understand and I see many examples where the body works on what we call like a threshold type system. So the body can withstand so many insults before symptoms present. In the case of this, if a food that you take in raises your body's inflammatory response, then it would take less of the other thing that you're sensitive to cause actual symptoms. So in this situation, if I'm a little bit sensitive to, let's say, wheat or gluten, that would raise the inflammation in my body somewhat. And then if I'm around even a small amount of mold, or let's say it's cat hair, then I might have much worse symptoms. And so the two ways that I could address that, one would be to avoid mold and dust. The other thing would be to avoid the wheat. And then the combination of the two, or one individually, could have enough of a change to get me out of symptoms. And so during the purification program, my nose cleared up. I stopped taking all my medicine. Really felt a lot better. And so through this program, I'm aware that there appears to be a food sensitivity. I haven't currently taken the next step, which would be getting either an ALCAT or an ELISA type test to find out exactly what foods I am sensitive to. It seems to be something in that gluten or wheat category. So those are the main things that I learned through the standard process purification program. Very thankful for all those things that I've learned. Next, I'll take a couple minutes and go over who I recommend this program for. Before I go into this section, I would like to say that I don't want anybody to take this as medical advice. Please consult your medical doctor or chiropractor about whether they think this is appropriate for you. But essentially, anybody who's looking for a rapid weight loss, this is, I believe, a great option. It functions like a crash diet, but at the same time, you're allowed to have an unlimited fruit and vegetable array. You can have the full variety. You're getting adequate amounts of protein, so it seems balanced, and yet at the same time, it functions like a crash diet. The second group of people I would recommend it for is people that know that they need to improve their nutrition. They want to improve, but like me, they just they have the knowledge, but they haven't found the jump start. They haven't found the transition, and a purification program like this can be an awesome step in that direction. Third, anybody who wants to improve their cholesterol or lipid profile. We haven't had very many people go out and get that checked before and after, but one of our advisors, they have all their patients that do this get their lipid profile checked before and after, and they have amazing changes. So if you're somebody that's taking a cholesterol medicine, you'd like to get those numbers lowered and talk to your doctor about lowering your medications, this would be a wonderful way to do that. Finally, if you're somebody that thinks that you might have food sensitivities, again, you're dealing with allergies, you're having gastrointestinal problems, you're dealing with fatigue, some of these diffuse symptoms, maybe headaches, that you think might have an underlying food problem, this would be one way that you could essentially do one version of an elimination diet where you cut out some of the most common reactive type foods. You cut out almost all wheat, you're cutting out dairy, you're cutting out things like shellfish and things that can react and cause those inflammatory responses. So those are the main types of people that I think would get a great benefit from the standard process program. Again, we've had about 30 people do it that I know, and overall we've received rave reviews from those people, and it's one of those things that I just love, strongly recommend. Thanks for listening. This is Dr. David Crozy with the Fulfilled Life podcast and video series, wishing you a happier and healthier life.